Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to the NAO show. I'm sorry to all our fans that we missed last week, but we were too busy having a darn good time watching LSU bank the ass of Alabama and Tampa Bay coming in the last 44 seconds to beat the Rams. You all can, obviously, my voice is gone. Because I was the sole provider of all the hype for Tampa Bay in the stadium. I am the reason they won. I pushed the ball over the end zone with my motivation. So
You ever
y'all
gonna
have that.
sit down? You being inconsiderate up there.
So fun story. Fun story. I scored 160 points. That's all we need to know about Week 9. And
I
y'all were
ask if you pushed Mixon a few times as well.
over the goal line. Yes. Actually, I was in the goal line and I grabbed him, a grown ass man, and I picked him up and pushed him into the end zone.
That's a penalty now. You can't do that. It's actually
I can do that now.
you can
I
push
can
from
do
behind. You can't pull. I think that applies to other places too, but it is a football penalty now.
very well. I love that. All right. So fun story right off the bat. I was standing there watching the game, standing next to a bunch of cool guys. They're all enjoying my company because I might have been a little intoxicated, a little bit. And this Karen from 5 rows above me comes down and goes, "Are you gonna stand the whole game?" And I said, "Yeah, probably." And she goes, "You're very inconsiderate. You should probably sit down. Friggin' you're gonna stand and block the field for me." But I was like, whatever. If you asked me nicely, I would have sat down. So I sat down. On every play, I stood up. And I made myself as big as possible. I'm the world's littlest person, but God, was I blocking a whole football field from that fucking Karen. Shout out to that Karen. You can eat a dick and die.
Jeez.
All right, let's get into this show. Obviously, you see Evan is here. I will try to keep him back from all his gloating about being number one. Congratulations, Evan, coming from me, the prince. That is Tank Top Mike. Flex on him, Mike. Let's see the guns, baby. All right. And Marky Mark had to make up for work, so he is not able to be here. Moment of silence for Marky Mark. And we're back. Let's do this thing. All right. Are we ready to get into last week's matchups?
Yes.
Okay, I guess we're gonna get in the last week's matchups.
Are we doing? Are we doing a trade?
Wait, was there a
There was
trade? There was a trade. All right. There was a big one, and it happened at 12:57 or something to that effect. It was
My
real
computer
close.
says 11:54, so we had 6 minutes to spare.
6 minutes to spare, and it was a part of the whole NAO squad. Sorry, Evan, you couldn't be a part of this. So, I'm going to break it down like a shotgun. Marky Mark sends Chase and Pickens. The Prince receives Claypool and Jamar Chase. Tank Top Mike somehow gets Jerry Jeudy and Pickens. All right, Evan, tell me what you think about this trade.
Well, first, I have to say I'll take off my crown as being a part of what used to be the league's largest three-way trade because I am no longer a part of that. This definitely takes the cake. And I'll say this: I hope that this three-way trade with your NAO squad brethren works out better for you, Sean, than the Cam Akers one.
I think that one also worked out really well for everybody involved.
You shut your whole mouth.
So, what I'll say is this: I was as someone who owns Kyler Murray in another dynasty, I thought it was smart of Mark to go get Tua right before Call of Duty was released. I think that was really we see Mark make these types of moves all the time. I'll say that this trade comes down to, for me, like in terms of like an overall winner, because when you just look at it on a surface level, Jamar Chase looks like the prize, right? Jamar
Yeah.
Chase definitely looks like the prize. But I think that there is a debate brewing, and will brew more this offseason when you look at dynasty rankings of where is Waddle going to sit in that ranking around Chase. Because I think that it may not be a hot take come this offseason to say that Waddle is a higher ranked dynasty receiver than Chase. Now, who knows? Chase is tied to his college quarterback. He's young. But the thing about Waddle is we've seen him put up numbers too, and his running mate Tyreek Hill gets a little bit older next year, and Higgins is still as young. So that part of the trade in terms of like your and Mark's side, I think is going to come down to that. Where does Waddle and Chase look, because the other pieces aren't as significant. I will say that I thought it was really smart of Mike to get some semblance of value for Claypool, because I think he's going to be second fiddle in a run heavy offense. Doesn't mean he won't have big weeks. I just think that he's going to be more boom or bust. And he gets somehow a guy who hasn't had a first round pick in like 3 years gets 2 first round talent rookie guys in Pickens and Jahan Dotson for the season. And Judy, he trades away Sutton to get Dotson, and now he's got Judy. So all the way around, I don't think there's a loser of this. It's definitely a wait and see. But I will stop being long winded and say that kudos to you guys for pulling it off. It looks fair all the way around, and there will definitely be winners and losers, but we're not going to know it anytime soon.
All right, Tank Top Mike, what do you think about getting Pickens just thrown at you? Tell us about the story. Run us through the story.
Yeah, so for a little bit of brevity, I suppose, it took about 24 hours, pretty close, maybe like 18 hours when it started. We were just sitting at a bar and we were watching some games, and all of a sudden,
Georgia game.
Mark just sends a trade, just a cold trade, straight to Sean. That included Chase, Waddle. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and I listened to these guys talk about stacks for 18 hours straight. Mark was like, "You can't have the Burrow Chase stack for 10 years. I can't do that." And Sean's like, "But I want the stack." 16 hours of this. I don't even think we slept. I have no idea.
There was no sleeping.
So that's when I started thinking, if Waddle's involved, and I have Tua, you guys can both get a stack here. So I threw Tua into the mix, and that's how my trade strategy this year has just been weaseling my way into third-party trades.
You're like a frat boy standing around the drinking water, just waiting for somebody to say, "I need an extra."
It worked. It almost worked with the trade with the three of us too. I weaseled my way into that one for no reason whatsoever.
I asked at one point, "Do you need to be in this trade?" And you're like, "Yeah." Sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, I think I wasn't really paying attention because I just threw my Tua in there to confuse everybody for a minute. And Mark just listed 3 wide receivers, and he asked me who I
what
thought.
were those 3 wide receivers, Mike?
Huh?
What were those 3 wide receivers that he?
Pickens, McLaurin, and Sutton.
Yes.
And I said, I don't want Sutton. So it was between Pickens and McLaurin. So I went with McLaurin. Or I went with Pickens, sorry, on that one. But
Obviously.
I didn't know that was coming to me. I didn't know that that's why I was ranking these receivers. And suddenly a trade came up, and it was this one, and I was like, let's do this. So, and I looked at Sean about a few minutes later, and I said, well, there's my draft for the year. So it's a good spot there. That was literally my draft. So I don't need it.
So it's funny that you brought up the Waddle positioning in Dynasty ranking, Evan, because that is one of the stronger arguments I made, besides the fact that I'm not high on Kyler Murray. Haven't been high on Kyler Murray, and I'm way higher on Joe Burrow. Not because he walks on water for me, but I think he's going to be a solid starter, top 6 starter for at least the next 5 to 10 years. You know what I mean?
Where does Kyler Murray come into this? I'm confused.
So Kyler Murray was in the original trade
for
Joe Burrow. So he wanted Joe Burrow, He was gonna send Chase to me, and I was gonna get Kyler Murray. I didn't want anything to do with Kyler Murray. And I was like, I want to keep Joe Burrow. That's it. Like this is why this deal is dying. Not because Waddle was being sent, but that was something I used later because Waddle is sixth overall right now in wide receivers, which is actually 2 spots higher than Jamar Chase. And I felt like I was giving up a lot. I'm giving up Waddle, Ayuk, and Judy, and I'm getting Claypool, which I think as you said, a run first team is going to be probably second fiddle to the run game. But he'll be first wide receiver. And I have Fields, so hopefully there could be some connection between them two. And during the game, they made plays to get the ball to Claypool, which was good to see.
So
Uh,
I want to add one thing to this, and
all right.
I say this not to piss off Sean. I preface
Oh,
it with this.
great. Let me
Yeah,
take a
here
drink.
we go.
But what I will say is, and I'll say this just so I didn't only say it behind closed DM doors. If I had to put a loser on it initially, not because of the value you got back, but
Right.
because I didn't understand like the overall move, I was gonna put Sean as the loser. And let me explain. I
Because I was
thought
giving them three, one wide receiver one and two potential wide receiver twos, or a wide receiver one and maybe a wide receiver three.
so. It's not about the values of what you gave and what you got back. I just thought, from my standpoint, of where your team's at this year compared to you got back two pieces. One is a sure starter, right? Chase locked down in your lineup, but you gave up three guys that you could potentially start. And in my opinion, and again, this comes down to preference. So if I was looking at your team, I would have been like, why wouldn't he have tried to trade Ayuk, Judy if he was going to move Waddle for a ton of draft compensation, or just some of those guys to try to rebuild depth? Because the trade looks like from your side that you were you're a one piece away team. And maybe you are, like maybe it all comes together. But and Chase and Jefferson beside each other, like I'm sure that's what you were salivating over too. Like those guys are just in the lineup, they're never moving. But
I'm actually trying to build a 2019 LSU Tigers team, and I've gotten there.
you're there.
I'm there.
You got to go get Terrace Marshall now. You did spend a first on him before. I think you got to go back and get him.
Nah, he can rot in hell with his freaking garbage ass play in the NFL.
He's doing okay right now, which is interesting. But no, so I did want to preface that. I thought like I was kind of like, and I think I maybe I told Mike, I was like, why didn't he go for draft compensation rather than trying to get one piece? Because now you got the piece and it's great in your lineup, but and not that you have no depth, but I went out this year and made the Lamar Jackson trade because I was like, we have Dak, but we need depth at top end positions.
Mm-hmm.
And and maybe this is just a me thing or us thing because we've had such terrible injury luck, which we're surprisingly not having this year. Where's wood? Knock on it. I was like, I want three of everything.
Well, I totally agree with what you're saying. Actually, I'm not mad at all because looking at my matchups going into next week. I mean, I have a big bye week with the Cincinnati Bengals being on bye. Uh, it hurt my team overall, but I think if I can have, I'm thinking that Jamar Chase in a perfect world is slightly better than Waddle. Not a ton better, maybe like 6'5", 5'4" difference, right? And then I wanted the upside for Claypool. So I think Claypool in Chicago is going to do really well with Fields. And then I have two potential uh top 10 quarterbacks, and I could move one of them, you know what I mean, for that extra piece I need,
Yep.
you know, and then get a guy like what Mike has done, like Tua. He moved Herbert, got Tua, got guys that he can play right now. You know what I mean? And
You can always move Jefferson or Chase for a buttload of stuff. We've seen him in a few trades. Just saying.
yeah, and now I have two top. Not to say that Waddle was, but to be honest, I have so much stock in Waddle and across so many leagues that if he went down, I was SOL in like 5 of the 6 leagues I'm in. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? I said after the trade, actually, that I knew I was going to diversify from Waddle. I didn't know it was going to be the NAO in which I did it. You know what I mean? But I got Chase, which is comparable. We don't know if it's going to be one-to-one comparison, if Waddle's going to have a few more targets, because I think Waddle could have more targets than Chase moving forward. But Chase and Joe Burrow, the stack, is a cool little dynamic that I was going for, which you can see with both the guys I got. I got
Yep.
Claypool, Fields, Chase, Joe Burrow. So I agree with everything you just said, Evan, but I think moving forward I'll be okay.
That was the most calm and rational response I've ever heard you give, and now I'm a little nervous on where the rest of this is going to go. We've
It's
we've
only
lost
gonna
viewers.
go
I need you
up.
to get loud and crazy again, okay?
Oh, okay.
All I
Well,
heard was through all that is how great I did. So thanks.
Mike did well. Mike.
I'm not gonna lie, Mike. We're sitting there at the table. I'm eating these flaming hot wings, and all of a sudden, Mike and Mark are talking, and Mark's like, Pickens, and I didn't even hear the other two guys. It was like Pickens and so and so and so and so, and I look right at Mike. I go, so you're gonna take Pickens, right? it was
McLaurin would have been
it was
hard to pass, I think, but you have Dotson, so I get it.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, you gave up Claypool, which is probably a 1-to-1 comparison to Jerry Jeudy, right?
Well,
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, you could make that argument, I'd say.
All right. Okay. Claypool might be slightly above Jerry Jeudy.
I'd rather
All
have
right.
Judy.
Yeah, I think if you really made me pick, I'd pick Judy.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So Jeudy is above Claypool. You send Claypool and Tua. And the difference between, well, there is no difference in your all's eyes because you think you won with Jerry Jeudy, which is fine. Jerry Jeudy is a fantastic wide receiver. If he hits with fucking Russ Wilson, he'll be fucking phenomenal for you. But you send a backup quarterback and get a potential starter for the next 10 years in George Pickens. If I was to look at this from a total non-biased scenario, I would think Mike somehow bamboozled everyone and sent Claypool and Tua and got Judy and Pickens.
One thing I'll say is I think Tua, obviously, if this offense and if he continues, they're only going to continue putting weapons around him. He could be a top 10. I mean, he's QB 11 right now, and he missed basically 3 games, right? He had played quarter one. So he could be a top 10 QB. And Mike, how are you going to feel if Mahomes goes down for any reason?
Yeah, I mean that's like exactly what you did with Jackson. So yeah. I mean that's the risk for it, but you know.
But you have depth to go get a quarterback. If you need
That's
to.
sort of what it is. I mean, I guess those are the two strategies in a one quarterback league. Anytime, and that's the great part about having a Mahomes. Like anytime a quarterback has gotten any value on my roster, I've traded him. I mean, I've ended up with DeAndre Swift, George Pickens, and Jerry Jeudy with some quarterback depth. So,
Anybody want Dak Prescott? I haven't.
You're heard it here first. Anytime Mike's going to write a book on how to switch freaking quarterback depth into freaking solid flex play.
But I mean, like you said though, that's the downside of it. I mean, if anything happens, suddenly I'm going from 20 points a week with Mahomes to whatever Andy Dalton decides to do that particular week. So, but he was just sitting there.
You're all in. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. All right, let's get into these matchups for week 9. Our first matchup is going to be yours truly, the Prince, versus FNG. I will tell you right off the bat, going into this week, I thought I was going to absolutely get my butt handed to me, and I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. Like, I've lost to a lot of guys in this league. Ian, shut your mouth. But FNG is silently working his way up this leaderboard, and no one is keeping him accountable. He is a solid team moving forward right now. He's got he's got picks. He's got rookies that are hitting. Kenneth Walker, you know. And if he had kept Olave, thank God he didn't keep Olave. This may have gone the other way. But we got the Prince at 160, FNG at 151. Mike, tell us the fans what you think about this matchup, bud.
Yeah, you're welcome. We made the whole big deal about the stack. And as soon as the players got swapped around, you put in Claypool and you put in Fields, and you became the bar's biggest Claypool fan in the span of 6 minutes.
Everyone in that bar knew I was rooting for Chase Claypool.
It was
Let
like
me
the
tell
first
you.
play of the game. They gave it to Chase, and Sean took his victory lap right there. But yeah, I mean, when you have two guys that score, 95 points between them, you it's a good week. And you win by 9, who cares? You still get a win. What everyone in fantasy right now is talking about the game that Fields had and the game that Mixon had, and you had them both. That's fucking awesome. So, but yeah, like you said, F&G's team coming up. Imagine when they figure out Drake London and what's going on there. This dude is supremely talented, and to see him with 1.8 points again is a little tough. But he's coming around. Not tonight though. It's terrible.
What do you
Terrible
think
game.
about this FNG skirt buy? I feel like I skirted death winning against FNG this week. What do you think, man?
When I look at this, it's like the ghost of trades past for me because, like, I see Juju that I traded him. I see Curtis Samuel that I traded him because Brandon hated Curtis Samuel and I believed in him, and I didn't even get to take my victory lap before I traded him. And then Miles Sanders, I traded him Miles Sanders too. So, like, I just got screwed. And all, like, you go back and look at some of these trades, I lost all of them, and it was all almost to beat you, and you still won. Mixon was a grown man. Fields, you should have been starting Fields the last few weeks, but he went off.
Hey, Joe Burrow has scored almost 30 points in the last 3 weeks, so
Fair,
I want
fair,
to hear it.
fair. But no, like, it's not just. I say that to say, like, kudos again, give him his roses, FNG, because not only is he drafting well, but he's making smart trades that are helping his team. That New England defense, I've tried every which way to trade for the last 2 years and can't get it. And you see why here with 26 points. All these great things happen for his roster, and it doesn't matter because Mixon went off for 53 and Fields went off for 42. So great win. Congrats. I need you to win again this week, and let's push somebody else we'll talk about later further down the poll.
I will try my best. Going through this game for me was I set my lineup and I literally thought I was going to lose. Like, I set my lineup. I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. Justin Fields, put him in. First time ever have I ever played Justin Fields in a lineup. And I was like, you know what? Go for broke. And I really think I just got real lucky. Like Joe Mixon, he was going to be the guy I started regardless. Damian Pierce might be arguably better than him, just because he gets the usage as much as anybody else. But Joe Mixon's probably one of the best players I have on my team, so he's going to get started. The fact that we make the trade, and I'm like, Mike, if I get Chase Claypool, I'm going to make Justin Fields my starting line quarterback, and I'm going to make that move. As soon as we make the trade, I make the move, and it automatically turns into a smart move. We're walking into the stadium for Tampa Bay, Raymond James Stadium. Go Bucks. And I hear, oh, Mixon's got a second touchdown. I'm like, all right, it's a Mixon day. All right, great. We get in through tickets, and TikTok Mike looks at me and goes, "Joe Mixon just had his third touchdown." I'm like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a good day." And then it just goes on from there. If I didn't have these two guys like carrying my whole team to victory, I wouldn't have beaten FNG because his lineup is so freaking tough. Like,
Those two guys
yeah,
beat 4 teams total in the league.
yeah.
Just
I
those two
mean, it's
guys.
all luck. It's 100% luck that I played both of them at the same time. And Kenneth Walker, he comes out and drops almost 30 points on me, which as a Damian Pierce owner, like Kenneth Walker has come out and shown that he should be the rookie of the year pretty handedly. You know what I mean? On
Only
a
because
team that
Rashad
we all
White hadn't
thought
got to
was
play.
what's that?
Only because Rashad White hadn't got to play yet. That's all.
Okay, keep living in that boat until it fucking sinks. And then, like you said, Juju, he has a good game. 10 for 12, almost 100 yards. And then Goddard, a guy that I traded FNG, comes out and drops a 20 bomb on me. So it was an interesting week. I'm just happy I was able to my stars align and I get the W. So good job, FNG. You shouldn't take this as a loss. You should take this as I'm gonna whoop everyone's butt moving forward. So good job. All right, we're gonna move down to Who's Your Daddy and Goofy fucking Jace. This matchup for us came down to a whopping 0.82 points. I can tell you with absolute certainty that Big Jammer was real mad about this freaking matchup, making the trade, having this come this close. Evan, what do you think, buddy?
It's kind of fitting that we're talking about this matchup after talking about yours because Mixon's big day essentially is what lost the game for Mark because Carolina's defense ended up scoring -2. Probably
Oh wow,
part of that was the
big deal right
5
there.
touchdowns that they gave up. So not too savvy there. This was a pillow fight of epic proportions that Goofy rode his way to a 7-2 record with. Goofy has quietly made a big playoff push. If we look at the last few years, he's essentially a win away from locking up a playoff spot. And it's kind of crazy to look at. I mean, he scored over 1,000 points, so it's not like a dilly run, but he's we got four teams in the top 4 right now, and 2 of them are bottom 4 from last year. Parity, if you want to say. But no, this one's just tough for Mark. I texted Brandon during the game and said Mark makes the all-out win now move and post one of his lowest scores of the year. And by the way, I just want to say one more thing. Screw you, Dilly. I have tried and to overpay like crazy for Josh freaking Palmer. Dating back to before Josh Palmer was drafted, Brandon was messaging everybody trying to get a 3rd-round pick to draft the guy. And then Mark trades for him for a ham sandwich, I think. I don't even know what the trade was. I don't want to look at it. But anyways. Good,
Take that, Mike.
good trade.
Man.
Yeah, Mark's just the king of losing games by less than 1 point.
Golly, you're gonna say that on national television? Golly,
Yes, he's gonna have to go back to the tough luck kid after or something like that.
Okay, Mark, cover your ears, man. This ain't gonna be good.
Yeah, all I could think was Mark. We left, and Mark had the small lead, the less than a point lead or whatever, and all he needed from Duvernay was nothing, and he scores 1 point. He did the least amount that you can do to get a win, and that was incredible. I mean, I feel terrible, but at the same time, like that's what happens.
Had he started the stack of Tua and Waddle, he would have won.
Dang!
That's
You're gonna put it on him like that?
You just
why I
want
said-
a stack, and then you don't start a stack. I'm just saying.
You guys made a big deal.
Evan
about
just
the
comes
stack
in,
the
just
whole time.
burns the house down.
Yeah, it was all Burrow stack this, Field stack that. That's a good point. Hmm.
Golly. Evan just throwing out freaking daggers at freaking Who's Your Daddy this week. He doesn't even have a freaking place to talk about it. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this. Let's move on to your matchup there, Evan. You had the tips. 92. You scored 149. All right, give us a rundown. What was going into the game? How'd you set your lineup? Let's go.
Really just rolled some dice and said, yeah, those guys will work. Because I was playing the tips and I knew it was a bye week.
Dang!
Mm-hmm.
Bye
No.
week tips. Are you gonna let them do that? Come on, guys.
No, it was we had some guys go above, some guys go below. I mean, I will say that I was tinkering late with the last flex spot of Garrett Wilson,
Okay.
and I was tinkering, realizing that I didn't think that would be the difference in the game, but knowing how this league is and points are important, I was like, I need to make sure I'm setting my lineup for points. I'm facing myself each week, not just the other team. So, and that ended up being the
Tank Top, did
right
you just hear
spot.
what he said?
Well, wait till
He
you get
said
to
he's
mine.
facing himself. Facing
I mean,
himself each week.
You're trying to
Subtle
make this
brag
bigger than
over
it is.
here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're trying to make this bigger than it is. Even if I lose, I need as many points as I can possibly score because of the points thing. So that's
Going
what
against himself, Tank Top. Did you hear that? He
God
said
bless.
it. He
Here
said it
goes.
on the
I'm trying to
NAO
be humble
show.
tonight. I'm trying to be humble.
Just
It
wait.
shows.
Just wait till we get to my matchup. It's all right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Evan. Finish your take on your matchup this week.
Look, it's a tough year for the tips, and now we don't even know. I guess is it the tip now? Do we take off an S because it's more singular? But Michael
Right,
Carter looking
Question
solid right now, and Christian Kirk returned to form. Terrace Marshall actually looks like what he was drafted to be last year, and
No,
then
it
McCole
wasn't.
Hardman is Tyreek 2.0 as they have him named. So I mean, they're getting some play out of some guys. Their team rebuild is going to depend a lot on what massaging Watson looks like when he comes back from suspension there in a few more weeks.
Tank Top, you gonna let him just say that he just playing himself this week?
I mean, no, I get it. I mean, I was watching this game because I had if I remember, a late surge with Mahomes and some points, and I was thinking the
Okay.
whole time like, man, I got to catch up on some points here because my saving grace is the points for leader right now. That's that's a
Let me
big
just
deal.
stop everyone. How many times has the last position in the playoffs come down to points?
That's what
Well,
we're
I was
saying.
Every
Welcome to the
year.
conversation.
Every year it comes down to points.
Welcome to the conversation that you started.
Oh, I knew what he was going at. This is the NAO. If you do not put up points, you are not going to make the playoffs, regardless of your freaking record. We don't give a shit. That was me last year. I lost it by points. I had the same record as the guy that got into fourth and potentially fucking won the damn league. Did the win the freaking league. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Mike, but golly.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I was watching this one. I saw your score creeping up. I was stagnant there for a while. I had to ask some other people if sleeper notifications were working, and I was only nervous because I knew you were gonna pass on points forward if I didn't do something. So, but I think the highlight on your side is T.J. Hawkinson, first game with the Vikings. You got to be happy with that. That is actually pretty cool. I did not see that trade coming at all, and then
Yeah.
the balls just start him. That's kudos on that one. That's pretty cool.
That's double kudos for me.
The funny thing is, every tight end that was playing this weekend on my roster scored a touchdown except for the one I started.
Humble brag, humble brag.
But real quick, I guess this is technically a humble brag. I'm so glad to see that trade because we moved Pitts because I felt like Hawkinson could be like a top 5 dynasty tight end. and then he's just been misused for the last year. To see him go to a team that's going to use him, I'm super stoked about that.
I'm really stoked about him going to the freaking Vikings too. Somebody else to be double covered other than Justin Jefferson.
You're
I'm
welcome.
real happy
Hey,
about
Yeah.
it.
boys helping boys here.
I
People
think
help
though
Big happy.
we can't
Big
get
happy.
through though after Tyreek with a big game and Aaron was all he's pretty beat up about that Tyreek Hill trade. He was yeah.
Speaking of Aaron, A-Bomb coming in absolutely inferno against that other guy. 126. He did the God's work and beat that dude at 105. Evan, tell me how great A-Bomb did this week and why Ian, you suck, is our staple. And
It's just simple, right? I have A-Bomb's first round pick in this draft. I think I have his second too. But
dang, thinking he's gonna go crazy bad.
no, it was just how the tables turned to fall. I wanted him to win, even though I had his first round pick, because Ian losing 4 games is sweeter than me getting an early first round pick.
That is the definition of the NAO right here. We don't care. We just
I've
want
already
Ian
put
to
in
lose.
I've already put an apology in the chat, but I just want to say, and he probably mentioned to you guys, I was in his DMs this week trying to trade him running backs, offering Lenny, Alvin Robinson. Like, dude, you need running backs. I was
Yeah, I
becoming
heard
Ian,
a
like,
little
let me
birdie
tell you.
say that Leonard Fournette for Nick Chubb. Like, was that an offer?
Whoa. No, that it was not a straight up offer. That is false. That
That
is
wasn't a
false.
straight. Oh, okay, all right. So obviously you were
That
giving
might have
him
been a
a first round
package.
pick to get Chubb. Okay, I get it.
So there was
Cool.
a package, right. So, but what I'll say is, I put disrespect on Kenyon Drake's name for the last time. Okay, he is back to being him, and he looks good. Why does every running back but J.K. Dobbins look good? I mean, Devontae Freeman looked good last year. Kenyon Drake now. Frank Gore may come back and rush for 1,000 yards for them next year. I don't know.
Oh, put it on the board, Mike. Put it on the board. You just said it,
I was actually
Mike.
I was
Tell
banking on
me.
Likely actually to be the one for Aaron that would beat Ian. And after his only what turned out to be his only catch for a 24-yard touchdown, he was pretty close. It counts. I'm gonna give the majority of it to Likely since he did it first, and then that way I'm correct.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, man, we were talking about Ian dropping a few games. Now he's sub 500.
So.
And has anybody seen him in chat lately? I know. I think.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I love the NAO chat these days. He's probably sending everybody that will give him 10 seconds of freaking an Excel document exactly why he is losing and why it's not his fault. Why Josh Allen shouldn't have had taken the knee and ran for 2 yards and all this BS.
Well, we're gonna see what kind of manager he is because Silly has nobody to siphon from that roster.
I love that you burned
wins,
2
give him his
managers in
fifth
one
loss.
shot.
We're all Dilly fans this week. We're all Dilly.
Yes.
If his 5th loss in a row is to Dilly, maybe.
Oh man, I don't even care if I make the playoffs. I will be in the bottom 4 wishing that this had happened. You know what I mean? Perfect storm, silly dilly. He's got 1 win, right? 1 win. Beats Ian. Oh man. I will throw a freaking party on the show next week if Silly Dilly wins. I will mind you that. I think it's really fun that A-Bomb started 2 tight ends and still beat Ian
He does that though.
by
That's
a
that's an Aaron move
margin.
to start more than one tight end and somehow win.
21-point difference.
Hey, credit where credit is due, guys. Steele did not score under 100 this week.
He's moving up.
Yeah, exactly. Good
when
job.
you only have only 4 wins, it's the little things that get you through the week.
I can't say shit because I don't have 4 wins yet, but it's the little things. I totally agree with you. How about that Montgomery coming in hot with 5 points? All right, let's move on to the next and final matchup. Our Miyagi ass waxing of the week. Bum, bum, bum. Our boy Dilly only scored 51 points. Tank Top Mike in the running for the playoffs, in the running for the #1 spot. Number 2, 7-2, right behind the Dogs at 8-1. He scores 122 points against his opponent at 51. Tank Top, let us join with you in setting your lineup. Come on, buddy. Tell us what you did to set this a magical lineup to get the W this
You
week.
stay the fuck away from me.
I may or may not have been drinking.
Well, so I get it's another bye week, really. That's
Oh,
I lost all track of where I was gonna go with this.
all right. Let me set you up again. Tank Top beats Silly Dilly 122 to 51. Patrick Holmes comes in with a killer game. How'd you go about setting your lineup there, Mike?
I do want to point out I almost called Cooper Cup's stat line to the T. I called 10
The
catches.
absolute T.
I called 10 catches, 145 and a touchdown. He ended up with 8, 127 and a touchdown.
I remember it because you told it to me, and I was like, that could definitely happen. And it came real freaking close. 2 catches and 13 yards, and he would have had it.
Yeah, pretty close. That was close. I'll take it. But yeah, this was like we were talking about with Evan's matchup. This was a points 4 matchup, unfortunately for Dilly. But I made it through. I still have the points 4 lead, not by as much, but still there. So I'll take it. On to next week. Really. On to next week.
Evan, as a co-manager of a team that has gone from the bottom to the top, and this is where you're at, what does Silly Dilly have to do to get out of the bottom 4 into the top 5?
He's already started it. It's a 2-step process. First step, you can't be afraid to trade away guys. Gotta be willing to trade away guys for draft comp. Second step, and this is like probably a 7-step process that he has to go rehab for. Don't trade with Ian in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you typically should fare pretty well. No, that's Ian's going to call for collusion on that. Just don't give all of your youth and future assets to Ian. Like, we can even minimize. You can still trade with him. Just like seek a counselor first. Make sure he
I won't
provides.
totally agree with that, because I think for definitely last year, the year before I might have liked somebody else better, but I've liked Silly Dilly drafting in the rookie draft. He has done phenomenal with the picks that he has and going getting guys that I think has solid upside. And then all he does is trade his picks away to Ian. You know what I mean? And it's just like, why are you propping up one of the best? Oh, I can't say that. One of the other teams in the league, you know? So I totally agree.
Like, Dilly knows, in my short conversation with him, I think Dilly knows football, and Dilly can definitely draft. Maybe he's just looking more at the here and now. I think last season just really messed him up. Like, he got a taste of that winning and didn't want to let go of it, go for broke type thing. But the only other thing I want to say about this matchup is I was watching that game on NFL Red Zone and knew you guys were at it. And when Cup breaks away for that long touchdown, all I could imagine was Mike jumping up and down and everybody wanting to hit him.
In a Mike Evans jersey.
And
In a Mike Evans jersey.
so, anyways, kudos. I'm glad you didn't score more than me. I'm coming for that number 1 points for spot too.
You heard it here first, Tank Top Mike. He's coming for you. All right, Tank Top Mike, be totally unbiased in your standings.
You know,
Let's go. What happened in the standings?
I think I would like to. I'd like to extend the offer here. If Evan, if you'd like to run the standings as first place, we don't often have guests, and we don't
Ooh.
often have the first place guests. So
It's a lot
Evan,
of
you should take
pressure. I'm
this
not
as
gonna lie.
a. You should probably start crying a little bit. I mean, this is a pretty high honor.
It's a lot of pressure. I'm not gonna lie. What I will
All
say
right,
is,
Evan. Throws down the standings here, man.
yep, the top four we've already mentioned, and top four is fun and all, and we are the number 1 seed. But we do play Mark this week, and last time we played Mark, there was a curse of brewing, and I'm really nervous about that. So I won't talk too much about that. But the more interesting part of the standings, I think that we should focus on is Ian could get his first win in 5 weeks this week and still go down in the standings. That is a possibility of the standings because I look at this the Prince, Airgate 2020, and Orlando City FC both have more points than him and could have the same record as him after this week, and they have more points. So even with a win, he could move down. I hope that happens. I am all for it. My new campaign. Like, yes, we're number 1. That's exciting. But my new focused campaign for the end of this season is I want the Prince and Ian in the Who Cares Bowl against each other.
Oh
That's
God,
how we make the world great again.
I do think that'd be pretty fun.
that is a matchup this world is not ready for. For me and that other guy to be in the Who Cares Bowl, I've been here 2 years in a row.
You would have
I've
home
been
field
here
advantage.
before.
Yeah, you'd have home field advantage for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Home field advantage. If Chase gets in there and starts rocking house, you're fucking done, Ian. I'm coming for your ass. If you get into the Who Cares Ball and I'm there, it's game over. Game over. You're not winning this league. All right. We're going to move on to week 10 matchups. We got our first matchup. It's going to be the FNG versus the Tips. Evan, what do you think about this matchup there, boss?
FNG and the Tips. I think FNG starts his playoff run this week.
Whoa! Wait.
Yep.
You can't just start playoff run? FNG?
Yep.
The playoffs?
I think he starts it this week, boys. I mean, if he's 3-6, so he needs a lot to go his way. But when I look at the teams from the bottom half of the schedule and I look at rosters, I think he has as good a chance as anybody to make a big run. And if he can put it all together, I mean, he dropped 146 points last week. And that's not the first week he's done something like that. So where is it? What's his points for? I want to see that real quick. 1,012. So that is pretty solid when you look at everything. I just realized everybody's over 1,000 points for except for the Tips and Dilly. That shows you where the competition is. I think FNG could make a playoff run. I don't think it's completely out of the realm, and it could start this week.
Dang, Tank Top, how are you going to follow up the FNG's going to make a playoff run? Take.
Think about this matchup and what we thought about it week 1 of this season, and now where we're at in week 10. It's kind of a huge change, unfortunately for both teams. But
all credit goes to FNG. Nothing goes to Landon for taking care of this freaking thunderstorm that is the Tips.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. FNG's got a pretty solid team. He's put up 140 points last week, rolling pretty good. So, I think we all expect this one to go the same way. So,
I do have to mention on the rest of the way on his schedule, he does have Mark. He would have to beat two playoff teams, current playoff teams, and Goofy and the underdogs, and then he would have to beat the Prince the last week of the season.
You can't take it back now. You've said it on national television. FNG playoff run right this season.
He won
I'm
last
gonna
week.
go
He would be like one game away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go a little short of that because he's got to play me at the last week, and I'm not an easy out. All right.
No.
His team is doing very well. I think he gets this win very handedly. Uh, I'm more interested in the points that he puts on the board than his win this week, if that makes sense. We've said through the show that points are the deciding factor for the fourth place for the last 2 years. This going into our third year. Every year, fourth place comes down to the points. That just shows how freaking competitive this league is. You know, if he's gonna make a playoff run, he's got to start putting up points, and he's got to start putting up W's. And last week was a pretty good start to 150. He didn't get the W, but he got a lot of points. He was second in points, so we'll go from that. All right, we're gonna move into our second matchup. It's the Who's Your Daddy and the Underdogs. Mike, tell me about this lineup and why does the Who's Your Daddies got a good lineup? Tell me.
Because he's got the stack. He's got the two.
He's got the stack. Yes, the
That's all,
Jalen Waddle stack to win the game.
that's all you need to know, right there. He's even got Ayuk. He's playing with all his new guys, so he's got Ayuk,
All
he's
of his
got Waddle,
new
he's got Tua.
guys.
So I traded for two guys on bye week, so if you can play them all, you may. But
Not salty at all. Evan, how are you gonna win this week? What kind of lineups you're looking at? What big questions you got going on into this matchup?
Did you have one more thing to add? I thought you were going to add one more thing.
I was just nervous about the commissioner curse. I don't know the rules. I don't know how it works officially, but it looms large.
Tank Top Mike throwing the curse down. It is in play. Be careful on what you say.
So I am not overconfident this week. This team beat us 3 weeks ago by 64 points. Just dropped the hammer. We scored
Without the match, without the stack? Without the stack, they beat you.
Without the stack. The commissioner curse, if you've never experienced it, it's a real thing. That is, it just is. It hit us hard last year. We did all our voodoo dances, made a deal with Dilly in the off season to try to get that off of us. And then it just pops up because he says it on the NAO show. So I'm hoping me being on the show this week and him not, maybe it flip-flops around. Fun little show fact. I was gonna wear a tank top for the show. Everybody's like, "Oh, thank God he didn't." But I literally didn't because I didn't want any extra curses put on me, and I know that Mark has had Mike's number, so I felt like it would have been not a good call. I'm not even going to look at the rosters or the matchups. One thing I will say is, thank God Christian McCaffrey can't be traded this week. When I play Mike a second time or Mark a second time, and he's actually full go. So I'm excited to see Christian McCaffrey after a bye week and not the week he got traded against a tough opponent in Mark.
This is definitely going to be the marquee matchup going into this week. I think it's going to be a who's who of the matchups, and whoever the winner is, it's going to be very, very helpful moving down into the playoff push. If the dogs get the commissioner curse and get the loss, I mean, they're not going to fall out of the playoffs, but that's going to help Who's Your Daddy, and the fourth spot is going to be wide open for like 4 teams. And that is very, very big. Very big. All right. We're going to move into another matchup that we are not very excited about. It's going to be those guys versus Silly the Dilly. Evan, tell me what Silly Dilly has to do to get the W right here. Come on.
I'm looking through the lineup because I want to give him lineup help that ends up beating Ian because there's nothing more that triggers Ian more than you guys telling somebody who to start. They start him and beat him. Cough, cough.
Yes.
Nicole Hardman with 3 touchdowns or whatever it was with the tips. But I think he's got the right lineup, guys. Like I'm scrolling through here. The only thing I might change is maybe his quarterback. Maybe go Daniel Jones against Houston. That's terrible, or Tom Brady.
Ooh, hot take.
Uh,
Hot take.
Well, Dallas is
don't
coming
know
off
if
a
it's even
bye,
hot
so
take.
Double MVP being dropped for Daniel Jones. Hot take right here on the NAO show.
I mean, yeah, but he's QB 16 on the year, and he hasn't put up a 20-point week since he hasn't.
Ever. He
He
hasn't.
has
He
not put
has
up a
not
20
done
point
it this year.
Yeah, so I think I would go with Daniel Jones, who's coming off a bye week and playing the worst defense in the league. Houston does have a decent pass defense, but I won't go off on that tangent. One thing I'll add though is I like Wandale Robinson in his lineup this week. I think the rookie
Ooh,
could have
okay.
a coming out party this week. I like Tony
Looking
Pollard
for
in the
the
lineup.
stack.
Stack, yes, absolutely. And I think Gibson on it's set up beautifully, guys. Oh, I hope it comes down to Monday night and Gibson in glorious fashion crushes Ian's dreams for a fifth. Like I'll cry. If Gibson is the reason on Monday Night Football that Ian loses his 5th week, I will cry and maybe post a picture of it in the chat. Like that is
That is
poetic
what we're
justice.
all waiting for right now. Is a picture of Evan just crying into his Cheerios that Antonio Gibson was the one guy that made it happen.
Like we need it to be Ian 16-point lead going into Monday night, and Gibson just goes off for a 20 burger for poetic justice.
subscribe.
Please.
Subscribe.
Can we have a moment of silence for that thought? No, I'm kidding. All right. Anyways.
Well, that was the
hopefully-
moment of silence for that thought. Tank Top, what do you think about this matchup going in?
You know, we all thought this was different in week 1.
Amen, brother. Amen.
We all thought, looking at the schedule, Ian's got a soft end of the season, but now we got to climb out of the depths of the Who Cares Bowl. So,
Ooh, hot take. Let's go, baby.
Fun fact: this is a rematch of Week 1 for them.
Ooh, who won the first week?
I don't know.
That other guy. All right, I get it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Not 80
Mike.
points. I doubled the score actually. Anyways.
I agree on Wandale Robinson. I looked at him a few times. I went away from him a few times. Went back to him again. But I'm excited to see what he can do there. I will agree also on benching Aaron Rodgers. This is a homer pick. The Cowboys are going to come out strong with Philly doing what they're doing. They're off a bye. I would not want to put Rodgers in front of that defense right now.
Oh.
So there you go, Silly. Watch the show. I'll have it up tonight for you, probably.
There you go, silly. Watch the show. Figure out what you got to do. Get the W against that other guy because we are all pulling for you, my man. If you need any help, hit us in the DMs. We will help you with any solid questions you got going moving
DMs,
forward.
we used to do polls. Just who should I start? Here's a poll.
Hey,
do one
we don't
poll.
do unsanctioned polls unless Goofy is here, my man.
I'm
And
gonna talk-
speaking of Goofy, we got Goofy against Tank Top Mike going in week 10. This is huge potential. This is a big old matchup right here. This is the Marky Mark matchup. Tank Top Mike
Another one.
projected 138 points to the Goofy fucking Jace at 109. But I think it's closer than that. What do you think of there, Evan?
Is this like a Bimageddon going on for Goofy? Because that's a really low projection. I'm trying to like look through here and see what he's got on by, but Goofy's just. I mean, he's doing goofy things. I guess I don't know because he don't have a ton on by. Got some guys in there. He kind of looks like one of the guys that are not in the top five's roster, but he's putting up points each week. So I don't know. I think if I had to pick a winner, I'd say Mike, but Goofy's been hard to knock off all season long. And if the Packers do have a good day, like you're literally going to feel like as a Dallas fan that you're playing the Packers.
Yeah.
Because he's got Lazard, Dylan, and Aaron Jones all in the starting lineup.
So I'm gonna go before Tank Top Mike gives his point of view, but I think it's gonna come down to AJ Dillon, which you eloquently said, Evan, and Jamal Williams, and the Swift switch. If Swift plays, Jamal Williams is garbage. If Swift doesn't play, Jamal Williams is solid start.
I think Williams is a solid start either way, to be honest. And in my defense, Swift is in there just so DJ Moore is not right now. So I'll monitor that guy through the year or through the week. But yeah, I mean Williams, he's gonna vulture touchdowns. Then that's what he does. He's last year's James Conner in a lot of ways. But yeah, even if Swift plays, even if he plays more than 10 snaps or touches the ball 10 times, Williams is a solid start. So. But yeah, I not to be mean to Goofy. I don't
Here
know
comes
how he's
Goofy.
7-2. I'm trying not to overlook it. But like you said, he's got 7 wins. He's got them somehow. So
Mike Williams is out. He's got Keenan Allen is likely not to play. And if you want to know where all his depth is, just look on his IR. I mean, that's where it's all at. So I say he needs one more win to basically lock up a playoff spot, and that's not wrong. But he may not get another win this season with how his injury situation looks. He's starting Khalif Raymond in the flex, and I don't know if that's good or not. You guys can be the judge of that. But that's not shoring up the flex, if you ask me.
well,
Him and McJammer have been injury plagued.
I think
For lack of a better
I picked
term.
McJammer as the injury guy. He's injury king earlier. I'm going to give it back to Goofy. I mean, Darren Waller, he's been out, for a few weeks anyway, but now officially on IR.
Officially on IR. He should
the
have been
trade
IR
period.
like 2 weeks ago.
So that's tough.
Yeah,
He's got
I
two
think
guys on the taxi on IR. All of his IR spots are full. Waller's down there. Mike Williams is out. Keenan Allen has been out. Russell Gage is out. I mean, yeah, it's
let me go on the record and say that I offered my second round pick for Keenan Allen, and God, am I so happy that Goofy said no to that. He wanted a first round pick, rightfully so. Good on him. He wanted top price for his top dog. But man, I'm so happy he didn't hit accept on that. All right, moving to the final matchup of week 10.
Hold on. There's one more
Ooh.
thing he wanted top price on.
Save
Dating
ground.
back
Let's
to
go.
Before the season, your draft pick. He has projected your draft pick to be a bottom 4 since like just after the rookie draft this past year.
Going to explain that. I don't understand.
I mean, I'm just telling you what the price tag was on it. It was a top 4 draft pick when I tried to trade for it after last year's rookie draft. That's your beef to take up with him. I'm just telling you.
Well, I'll have a conversation with Goofy fucking Jace about that when I'm in the Who Cares Ball for the 3rd year in a row against Ian.
Trying to match.
All right, we're going to do our red light special. We got the Orlando City against the Prince, projected at 110. Orlando City is projected at 114. This is coming out to a very, very close matchup. A lot of potential of standing moving in this matchup. Tank Top Mike, take us off. Tell us what you think.
I mean, talk about a bye week, bye Mageddon. You're rostering all the Bengals, and they are on bye.
I am a low-key Bengals fan, FYI.
But the stack for the second week in a row, I think it could be pretty fun.
That.
We're gonna overlook that means you have to start Zay Jones against a team like Aaron's, who again could go off. Aaron is gonna, yeah. Who knows what his team does any given week? But there was the injury to what's his name and or the Raiders, Renfro. So what do they got? They got Devontae
You went
Adams. They got Josh Jacobs. 80% of the plays are going to one of those two guys. So if you can survive Devontae Adams, I'm going to give you a shot.
Oh, damn. Evan, Tank Top Mike says I have a shot at getting the W this week. What do you think?
So I'm going to say one thing about your lineup decision so far, and it's probably going to be the wrong thing, and you're going to go with what I say or not listen. Either way, you're going to be pissed off because it's going to be the one you don't start. But I would consider KJ Hamler over Zay Jones coming off the bye week. And
Ooh, hot take.
I
Hamler, wide receiver 3 in Denver.
I like my Titans, but our secondary has kind of sucked. Just to be honest, I think he's a guy that could get underneath them. So, just a thought: this game's going to come down for Monday night for you. I think if you were to win, you're going to end up needing a night out of Devontae Smith. But he's got some boomer bust guys. It's not out of the realm of possibility. We saw Minnesota. No, I guess they. I was trying to say they shut down somebody. I think they got shut down against the Eagles, but he's got all of his Bills playing Minnesota. That defense is pretty stingy. They're 7-1 for a reason. But Knox and Davis are kind of boom and bust. Darius Slayton is very boomer bust. He's projected a whopping 1.82 points, and he's playing this week in his lineup. Raheem Mostert, does he lose even more carries to Jeff Wilson? Wilson's second week there. So there's definitely a path for you to get there. The biggest one for you, I think, is Josh Allen not starting this week, which may not happen.
All right, if Josh Allen does not start this week, he's staring down Kirk Cousins, which would be a smart play against my Justin Jefferson play. Or, yeah, that is the only play he has. He has another quarterback, but he is not going to put up anything close to Kirk Cousins with Justin Jefferson. Looking at this matchup, I need to set the best lineup. And I know that's like a freaking cop-out thing to say, but if there's 2 losses for the right teams, and I get 2 wins in the next 2 weeks, I could go from 7th to 4th to the fucking playoffs, y'all, to what I was planning on doing. Yo, I am setting the very best lineup that I can this week, hoping for the best. A-Bomb, I hope you fucking start Josh Allen and he does not play. I hope he plays 1 snap and doesn't play, and that I get the W, because that is what it's going to take.
So what's going to happen is Allen's going to get benched, and he's going to pick up Taylor Heineke. Heineke's going to go for like 25.
That is
all right. You hold your fucking tongue, because
go pick him up right now.
Sean's going to do some waiver wire churning, so Aaron can't pick up anybody.
Put everybody on waiver wire. Everyone. That is week 10 in review. Week 9, I was the big dog. Anything could happen from this point moving forward. We got the trade deadline looming. Just as a note to the league, we have a trade line looming. And if you've seen any of our shows, you know I hate that dude. And Ian, you suck.